Alright, so that button hit and it wasn't even supposed to go live yet, but it's all good. So I'll just continue doing what I can to get things situated over here. Alright, so that should be the microphone. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Let me see if anybody's in here. Alright, what's up? What's up? Hey, Julia. Roy, how's the audio on this thing? Might be here for a minute. Retro J in the house. Alien, what's happening? Deontay Hightower, Miss Harris, how you doing? What's up, Dan, Jacob? Alright, Gamer Grim Reaper. What's good? What's good? Alright, just a sec. Having some difficulty over here. I was wondering whether or not I was gonna go live today. I was thinking about it. I was like, but what are we gonna talk about? Because there's a whole lot of stuff to talk about. And oddly, one of the first things I saw was a couple messages from some people telling me that Jeffrey Epstein is dead. Now, I thought that was a little bit odd, just a little bit, because well, one, he was in protective custody to a degree. You know, he was on suicide watch, and if somebody's on suicide watch, then that means they're supposed to be under like 24/7 surveillance for the most part to make sure that nothing happens to them. So somebody dropped the ball here. Somebody ended up uh, I don't know, maybe it was an inside job some way or another. I do not know what's going on with this. There's still a lot of questions. It's a fresh story, but there was some other stuff that happened. Let me see. Documents. Epstein. What I was wanting to do is the normal situation when we do the screen sharing and you know the getting the articles up and all that. I won't be able to put them on the screen, but I can read these things out. But there was a article that came out yesterday about unsealed documents that connected um, Jeffrey Epstein to like 2,000 of the world's most rich and powerful people. So, what's up, Manny? I see you. Leroy, what's happening? Um, so yeah, let me get into this thing. Right. Billionaires, CEOs, royalty. Prince Andrew was in there. So this lady, she put up a lot of information. So this is an article from Vanity Fair. I'm just gonna read off of this real quick. So the title of this is "She Was Shaking Uncontrollably: Powerful Men Disturbing New Details in Unsealed Jeffrey Epstein Documents." Okay, and this lady, Virginia Roberts. Virginia Roberts Gouffre. Let's go with that. Let's just call it Virginia from here. I don't want to butcher her name too bad. All right, so it says the Jeffrey Epstein scandal has so far unfolded like a horror movie. Facts. Played on a broken projector. The gruesomeness is clear, but many details remain obscured by sealed court records and confidential settlements. Epstein signed with several alleged victims. In the elite worlds of Manhattan, Washington, Palm Beach, and Silicon Valley, in which Epstein operated, his former friends and business associates have been left nervously to wait to see who among them might be named as participants in his alleged sex ring. Today, the resolution is considerably sharper. Following a judge's order, a federal court released the first batch of thousands of pages of sealed records related to a defamation lawsuit Epstein's self described sex slave, Virginia Roberts, filed against Epstein, alleging filed against Epstein's alleged Madam Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, so this lady, Ghislaine Maxwell, was apparently out here kind of procuring women for Epstein to use in this whole sex slave operation. So that's is some off the wall stuff. Okay, and the documents for the first time reveal the names of powerful men who Virginia alleges Maxwell and Epstein forced her to have sex with, as well as new details about Epstein's relationship with Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, and Donald Trump. A lot of important people are going to have a really bad weekend, and that's in quotes in this. One person involved in the litigation told me attorneys for Maxwell and Epstein did not respond for a request for comment. Perhaps the most eye opening of the names is hedge fund billionaire Glenn Dubin, who Virginia alleges was the first powerful man Epstein and Maxwell directed her to first have sex with, sometime in 2001. Dubin and Epstein's friendship has been well documented ever since it was revealed last month that Epstein had invested billions or millions in Dubin's hedge fund, Highbridge Capital, and helped engineer J.P. Morgan's acquisition of Dubin's firm. Now, let me pause it right there. See, another story that came out yesterday was that um, there were internal warnings from personnel about J.P. Morgan's connection to Epstein, but they ignored that. And what I'm thinking is that there's also going to be some kind of there needs to be some kind of probe into J.P. Morgan also because I mean, like just a few weeks ago, J.P. Morgan was caught with 1.8 billion dollars worth of cocaine on one of their ships, and then I mean, there's also this connection to Epstein. I mean, I hadn't even looked over this article right here. There's new stuff. There's new stuff coming out about his connection to J.P. Morgan. So let me read back over that again. Dubin and Epstein's friendship has been well documented ever since it was revealed last month that Epstein had invested millions in Dubin's hedge fund, Highbridge Capital, and helped engineer J.P. Morgan's acquisition of Dubin's firm. Epstein had previously dated Dubin's wife, the former model turned physician Eva Anderson, after Epstein's release from a Florida prison in 2010. Anderson reportedly wrote a letter to his probation officer asserting it was okay for Epstein to be around their children. Dubin couldn't be reached for comment. I keep hearing that in these stories. Like nobody wants to show up for comment on these things. Um, Virginia also alleges Epstein and Maxwell told her to have sex with former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, former Democratic Senator Majority Leader George Mitchell, the late MIT computer scientist Marvin Minsky, and MC2 or MC Square model agency co-founder Jean-Luc Brunel, as well as an unnamed prince. We're thinking that's Andrew, uh, foreign president and owner of a French hotel chain. Virginia previously alleged she had been forced by Epstein and Maxwell to have sex with lawyer Alan Dershowitz and Britain's Prince Andrew. Okay, so they were all right. So it was some unknown prince in addition to Andrew, but this is some wild stuff, man. As far as all this stuff going on, it's like a lot of people been keeping an eye on this thing, and that's necessary, but we've been catching distractions, in the mainstream. These events, these seemingly staged events, where some young man goes into some highly populated area and opens fire with an assault rifle of some sort. I believe it was AK-47s last weekend. But on another note, be ready for more of that type of stuff to happen because a lot of people are starting to pay attention to this story, and I mean it's just heating up a little bit more ever since these documents came out. Then all of a sudden this guy's dead. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird how people that know about things that can implicate the Clintons oddly end up coming up dead. And one thing I was gonna do, and I already checked this video. It's already flagged. It's already flagged for review, so it's not safe for safe for advertisers. So might as well go for broke here. So let's read a little bit from this Clinton body count. I wanted to pull this up for you so we could all read this together. But whether or not you knew, and I think you all probably did know about this, there's been a trend for as far back as I can remember. Let's. I don't even know how far back this even started, but there's a long list of people who had information that could um, lead to the prosecution of Bill and Hillary Clinton that have come up dead in some strange circumstances. So I got a article pulled up here from EtherZone on the Clinton body count. So let me see. I'm just gonna read a little bit from this and read just a few of these stories about how these people came up dead in dealing with the Clintons. Okay, so it says the Clintons have left a trail of death and destruction in their wake. This is who we've lost and why they were targeted. All right. Susan Coleman. Rumors were circulating in Arkansas of an affair with Bill Clinton. She was found dead with a gunshot wound to the head at 7.5 months pregnant. Death was an apparent suicide. Larry Guerin was killed in February 1987 while investigating an inslaw case. I believe that's something that was going on with the Clintons. Here, let's see. Uh, Keith Coney. Keith had information on the Ives Henry deaths. Died in a motorcycle accident in July 1988 with unconfirmed reports of a high speed car chase. Let me see. Keith McCaskill has information on the Ives Henry deaths. Wait a minute, hold on. Let's go back. Let's go back. You're probably wondering what the Ives Henry deaths is. Hold on. So this is going what these two are saying. Keith Coney and Keith McCaskill. There's another case. So here's something. Okay, Kevin Ives and Don Henry. Okay, initial cause of death was reported to be the result of falling asleep on a railroad track in Arkansas on August 23rd, 1987. Two guys fell asleep on the railroad tracks. This ruling was reported by the state medical examiner, Fahmy Malik. Later, it was determined that Kevin died from a crushed skull prior to being placed on the tracks. Yeah, Don had been stabbed in the back. Rumors indicate that they might have stumbled upon a Mina drug operation. Okay, so the Mina drug operation by Bill and Hillary, this was an operation where they had an airport in Mina, Arkansas, where they were allegedly flying drugs in and out. Fell asleep on railroad tracks. What they said initially. But yeah, later found out that this guy had a crushed skull before being placed on the tracks, and the other guy had been stabbed. So that was Ives and Henry. Okay, so Keith Coney had information on the Ives and Henry death, and he died in a motorcycle accident. Um, with the unconfirmed reports of a high-speed car chase. This guy Keith McCaskill had information on Ives and Ives and Henry's deaths, um, and he was stabbed to death, like the other guy, Henry. Good lord. Gregory Collins, he had information on those deaths. He died from a gunshot wound to the face in January 1989. Jeff Rhodes, he had information on the deaths of Ives, Henry, and McCaskill. His body was found in a trash dump in April 1989. He died of a gunshot wound to the head, and there was some body mutilation, leading to the probable speculation that he was tortured prior to being killed. James Malam had information on the Ives and Henry deaths. He was decapitated. Decapitated? The state medical examiner, Fahmy Malik, initially ruled death due to natural causes. See, that's who they need to look into. This name keeps coming up. The name is Fahmymalak. So I'm just calling him Fahmy Malik. Uh, and this is the medical examiner who keeps coming across these bodies. So it's like these people keep dying in connection to one thing or another, like that's in connection to the Clintons, and then it's the same medical examiner that checks out these deaths, and he was like, yeah, it was a suicide, a shot to the head. That was a suicide, and this guy that was decapitated, and he claims it to be natural causes. Like, who gets decapitated from natural causes? All right. Okay. We'll do a couple more. This is craziness. Richard Winters. Winters was a suspect in the deaths of Ives and Henry. He was killed in a robbery in July 1989, which was subsequently proven to be a setup. Jordan Kettleson. Kettleson had information on Ives and Henry's deaths. He was found shot to death in the front seat of his pickup in June 1990. Let's go down and see some other stuff. Good lord. There's a lot of scrolling here. There was a lot of people who have died in connection to these Clintons, man. Okay. Victor Razor, the national finance co-chair for Clinton for president, he died in an apparent plane crash on July 30th, 1992. R. Montgomery Razor also involved. Let me see. Yeah, also involved in the Clinton presidential campaign. He died in the same plane crash as his brother Victor. Paul Tully. Tully was on the Democratic National Committee. He was found dead of unknown causes in his hotel room on September 24th, 1992. No autopsy was ever allowed. Ever allowed? All right. Okay, this is a good one. Ian Spiro. Spiro had supporting documentations for grand jury proceedings on the Inslaw case. His wife and three children were found murdered on November 1st, 1992, in their home. They all died of gunshot wounds to the head. Ian's body was found several days later in a parked car in the Borrego Desert. Cause of death? The ingestion of cyanide. FBI report indicates that Ian had murdered his family and then committed suicide. Paula Gober, a speech or a Clinton speechwriter, she died in a car accident on December 9th, 1992, with no known witnesses. Good Lord. I appreciate it, Michael. Michael De La Rocha, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Keep this public. This is too suspicious. This is way too suspicious. But so look, I got to figure out this whole streaming thing from the computer because I wanted to screen share and all that and just show you these articles and all that. But this Clinton body count, look into it for yourself. These folks, these folks, anybody who gets too close to the Clintons and they get into their operations, if they're not, I don't know. It's like they're tying up loose ends. It's like some gangster type stuff, man. Good Lord. Let me see. John Crawford, an attorney with information on Inslaw. He died from a heart attack in Tacoma in April 1993. In Tacoma. That's crazy. John Wilson found dead from an apparent hanging suicide May 18th, 1993. He was a former Washington, D.C. council member and claimed to have info on Whitewater. That's some other stuff. Paul Wilcher, a lawyer who was investigating drug running out of Mena, Arkansas, and who also sought to expose the October surprise, BCCI, and Inslaw. He was found in Washington, D.C. apartment dead of unknown causes, June 22nd, 1993. Vincent Foster, a White House deputy counsel and longtime personal friend of Bill and Hillary Clinton, found dead July 20th, 1993, dead of a gunshot wound to the mouth, a death ruled suicide. Many different theories on this case. Readers are encouraged to read our report in Strange Deaths. Yeah, Vincent Foster, he was one of the bigger ones. He was one of the bigger ones, bigger names. I looked into the Clinton body count a while ago, but as far as reading all these different cases and all the wild stuff, the weird circumstances, it's crazy. And I'm sitting here like I'm scrolling down this page, scrolling, and I mean this is from like years ago when this was printed out too. So I mean, there's been a lot. Look, okay. Long story short, there's been a lot of people who were close to the Clintons or who got to a point to where they could implicate the Clintons that came up dead from strange circumstances. Okay, so that was the unsealed documents on Epstein. Let me see. All right. Anyway, let me get in the chat, man. What y'all think's going on out here? Let me know what's up. All right, Manny Pinocchio says, "You think Epstein's really dead? I think that he's alive." You know what? I don't doubt that for a second. To be honest with you, I'm still wondering about that too. Because I mean, this just happened a few hours ago. There was the documents that just came out, and they were unsealed yesterday. And then today, on the 10th, he died overnight. This dude probably still warm out here, but everybody knows what's going on. But I mean, there's an obvious trail of dead bodies that leads to the Clintons, and they're still walking around like there's no problem. Like Hillary was out running for president, campaigning a couple years ago, and she's still like whatever. What would happen if one of us had all these people coming up dead that are connected to us? Like you're just hanging out with a whole bunch of people. You got this person, you got this person, you got this person, that person, and all these people over time end up just coming up dead, and you're the only one that's still alive. Don't you think after a while some guys in suits are gonna come knock on your door asking you some questions? But they're not doing that to the Clintons because I don't know. Are the Clintons like one of the most powerful families in the world? I mean, obviously they're one of the most powerful families in the world. They got a lot of people. They got a lot of people in check some way or another. A lot of people are just scared to roll over on the Clintons because they already know what's going to happen. They got so many examples of people who will end up freaking worm food. That's going to roll over on them. Anyway, yeah, the people in power won't allow it. It's true, Kathy. It's probably true. Uh, right, right. We can't jaywalk. We can't have a headlight out. You can't run through. You can't run a red light. You're not supposed to pull the little tag off your bed, off your mattress. You know what I mean. You can get shot by law enforcement for any little thing these days, man. Um, but this couple in particular, out in front of everybody, has so many dead bodies stacked up behind them, and nothing's going on. It's ride or die. How you doing? I see you. But it's crazy. Stuff is crazy, man. It's crazy what's going on. Okay, so let me see. Jeffrey Epstein's dead. This is August 10th, 2019. Epstein's dead. I really didn't. I don't know. I was hoping that they would take. I was hoping that they would take better care of this guy while he was locked up. Honestly, because I wanted him to be able to testify. But I guess the next best thing that we can hope for is what happened yesterday with all those documents coming out. So I guess it's safe for him to burn now. That's fine. I wanted him to stay alive until he could testify, but since those documents came out, it's all good. You said, have they ever knocked on my door? No, they haven't knocked on my door, John. But it's all good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Deception Slayer said he committed suicide on Suicide Watch. I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, there were cameras everywhere. There's cameras everywhere, and there was supposed to be somebody watching him 24/7. How did he commit suicide while he was on Suicide Watch? I was in the army, right? In basic training, In basic training, what would happen is like if soldiers came to a point to where they seemed like they were mentally unstable to a degree that the drill sergeants felt like they would become a threat to others or a threat to themselves, they would be placed on suicide watch. And in basic training, they would assign two soldiers to watch this individual at all times, at all hours of the day. There will be a couple of soldiers posted up. Like this dude will be off in a spot by himself, and there will be a couple of soldiers posted up, like right next to his bed, to make sure that he didn't kill himself. Okay, it was that serious. It's like dude sitting there asleep. It's 3 in the morning. Okay, the guy, the soldier that's on suicide watch, he is sitting there. He is laying there asleep, and there are two soldiers awake and active watching him sleep to make sure he doesn't kill himself. If that's the type of stuff that goes on in basic training, where they got privates, PFCs, and all that, these are people who aren't even like legit soldiers just yet. You know what I'm saying? They haven't even gotten through basic training. If that kind of security is on a PFC that might hurt themselves in basic training, what kind of security should we expect to be on Jeffrey Epstein, a billionaire who is in prison, who is alleged to be the guy that ties together this whole worldwide sex trafficking ring, who's already a registered sex offender. We gotta know that there should have been somebody with eyes on him at all hours of the day. And for this dude to come out here, or for them to expect us to believe that he committed suicide under those circumstances, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that. So at this point, he was either murdered by one of these people who was supposed to be watching him, or by the team that was supposed to be watching him on behalf of the Clintons, some way or another. There's speculation here. I'm not saying this is what happened. Um, Let me see. What you say? Yeah, Ulysses Cotto. Yeah, flight risk and denied bail. This dude was supposed to put up bail 100 million. You say? Come on now. Was he really even in prison? That's a good question, Anthony. I mean, we really don't know. We really don't know what's going on. But the if we just go by the official narrative right here, um, it doesn't make any sense if you look at it logically. Like that I'm saying this guy's on suicide watch, so somebody should have been watching him. Obviously, that's part of suicide watch. They were supposed to be watching him. Somebody needs to be fired. This guy actually was successful at committing suicide while he was on suicide watch. That's the official narrative. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. So he was either killed, or one, he was killed, or two, they let him get away. They let him get away. They faked his death, and he's on an island chilling. That's that's about where it's at right now. Those are the two options that I'm left with. I mean, if you all got anything else, so either they killed him or they set him free and faked his death. There's pictures of his dead body. Uh oh, hold on. Let me see. Let me see. Epstein death pictures. Let me see. You got pictures of his body? Let me see. And I'm sorry if that's a little dark. I'm just saying. Well, yeah. Look, we need to see the body. We need to see the body, if anything. And then they could fake that too. They could fake that too. Oh, you ain't. But if look, this is the so-called conspiracy community. This is the true community. All right, we're outside the box with this stuff. So even if we did see a body of Jeffrey Epstein, how do we know it wasn't a clone? How do we know? We don't know. It could have been a clone. They could have cloned Epstein a long time ago. They could have got a body double. They could have got a body double for him. They could have covered this up easily. They could have look. They could sit here. They could have made a wax figurine. They could have made a wax body double or something. They could have, yeah. Miss Rodden, I said it's a stunt double. Right? They could have used a stunt double of some sort. They could have found what you think they couldn't, or he is sedated. Exactly. I'm saying they could have gave him something to slow his heartbeat down to a point to where he appears to be dead. That's not. Come on now. That's not too crazy. That's not too far out there. They could have faked his death and just okay. Everybody believes he's dead. All right, cool. So what we're gonna do? We're just gonna move him underground some way or another to like outside the view of the public eye, and you know we're gonna move him out there to a nice place, and we're gonna continue the fight. But then again, it's hard to tell. I mean, it's too late to put the worms back in the can. You know what I mean? Like those documents are already out there. That lady Virginia, she's already testifying and she's naming names. Those documents are naming names out here. So somebody needs to be locked up behind this. We'll see. All right, Flat Assassin move to Gitmo maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But there's a it's an interesting story. It's interesting how all this stuff is coming out all of a sudden. Rachel Chandler already named names. All right, cool. Um, I don't know if he's a Mason or not. I really don't. I hadn't heard anything about Epstein being a Mason, but I mean, as far as him, dude isn't. He's not a hedge fund manager because the circumstances that he became a billionaire, how rich and powerful. He was apparently like a teacher at some small school at some point. What happened? I mean, he became the guy that the so-called elite could call up and say, "Hey, I would like one of those girls. Can you help me out with that?" And they would use their codes and all that, their code words, and they would have their meetings. And he's got a whole island where these people can fly in and get together and do these orgies and rituals and all that silly stuff. Man, it's crazy. It's crazy out here. As far as what happened. So because he was the guy that they could all go to, he felt like he was bulletproof. Being out on an island, you could do whatever you want because, like, if that's a private island, not just anybody can pop up there. And then, what? There was a ranch that he had in the U.S. somewhere. Where was he at? Let me see. There was a ranch that he had in the U.S. I want to say it was like Arizona or New Mexico. It was somewhere in that area where he had a ranch where um, he was planning on he was doing like a eugenics program where he had multiple women in, and his goal was to keep 20 women pregnant on this farm, like at all times. Like he it was a program where he was constantly trying to just have a woman pregnant, and he was going to be fathering children to 20 different women, at all points of all through the year. And that was something I heard about as far as Epstein. But I've been hearing a lot of stuff about this whole situation. It's crazy, but they're saying he killed himself in jail while he was on suicide watch, and I think that is complete bull crap. So anyway, um, it's all good. And don't go to jail. They make bail. Yeah. What we got? Thinking of John of God. No, Roman hoax. I actually heard about there was something. Well, I mean, John of God too, but there was that. Uh, Let me see. Let me type this in. Epstein's Ranch. See what pops up. Yeah, Epstein's Zorro Ranch. That's what it was. Epstein's New Mexico. Okay, yeah. All right, so here we go. All right, so here's a something from HuffPost. Jeffrey Epstein's New Mexico ranch linked to sex trafficking. Known as the Zorro Ranch, the high desert property is now tied to an investigation that the New York State Attorney General's office has opened into Epstein. Albuquerque, New Mexico, AP, at the center of Epstein's secluded. Okay, one more time. At the center of Jeffrey Epstein's secluded New Mexico ranch sits a sprawling residence the financier built decades ago, complete with plans for a 4,000 square foot courtyard, a living room roughly the size of an average American house, and a nearby private airplane runway. Known as the Zorro Ranch, the high desert property is now tied to an investigation that the state attorney general's office says it has opened in Epstein with plans to forward findings to federal authorities in New York. Mm-hmm. Epstein, who pleaded not guilty this week to federal sex trafficking charges in New York, has not faced criminal charges in New Mexico, but the scandal surrounding him has still sent a jolt through the rural southwestern state as it comes under scrutiny for laws that allowed him to avoid registering as a sex offender following a guilty plea a decade ago in Florida. New Mexico continues to lag behind the rest of the country in strengthening outdated and weak laws that fail to protect our children from abuse, New Mexico Attorney General Hector Balderas said in an emailed statement to the Associated Press. This is a huge black eye for our state. You got that right. Okay, so let me skip down. In 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty in Florida to state charges that of soliciting a minor for prostitution under an agreement that required him to spend 13 months in jail and register as a sex offender. The agreement has been widely criticized for secretly ending a federal sex abuse investigation involving at least 40 teenage girls at the time that could have landed him behind bars for life. 40 teenage girls, involving 40 teenage girls. And this is in 2008. 11 freaking years ago. And this dude was just not. Okay. Labor Secretary Alexander Acosta said Friday he's stepping down amid tumult over his handlings of the 2008 Epstein deal. Yeah, he should have. But he probably wasn't going to win that case anyway. I don't know. It's hard to know what the deal was behind that situation with this guy Alex Acosta, the one who got Epstein that deal. Because one thing was that he had Epstein had a team of lawyers that was just so overwhelming that he was like he would have walked away for sure if they wouldn't have made a deal of some sort anyway. So what they wanted to do is like, even if it was just that little slap on the wrist that Epstein got, which kind of summed up to like what 18 months of jail time, and in which like 12 hours he had work release. Like he could actually get up and leave jail 6 days a week for 12 hours. Hey, Miss Griffin. What's up, Rambo? And then come back. Like he could just come and go as he pleases, as far as that deal goes. So that was the deal for the most part. Yeah, let me see. In 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty in Florida state charges for soliciting a minor prostitution under an agreement that required him to spend 13 months in jail, it wasn't even 18 months, and register as a sex offender. That's it. But while he was in jail, he was able to leave jail for like 12 hours a day and then come back. He was able to go work while he was in jail. So he could leave jail for 12 hours and then, come back and sleep, work out, eat, and then get up and go live his life again outside the jail. And he was able to do that for 13 months. And he had to register as a sex offender. That's all he got. So that was a really good deal. So they let him. Yes, Yes, they let him leave. Craziness. All right. So about this ranch, records show Epstein purchased the ranch, valued by county officials at over $12 million, from the family of former Governor Bruce King, who died 10 years ago. A 1995 Santa Fe, New Mexican story about his plans to build a mansion on the property said the home would be 26,700 square feet with a 2,100 square foot living room. So yeah, they're not really, yeah, a eugenics program. So he had two private islands actually. A lot of people hadn't heard about this. When he had Little St. James, and then I believe he had the Greater St. James, I believe was the other one. So Little St. James is the one that we hear about, Pedophile Island and all that. So we all heard about that one, but a lot of us hadn't even heard about Greater St. James, because it's like a bigger island where you had some stuff going on. And I heard they're still doing construction over there too. Um, so he had two private islands and a ranch over here. No telling what they had going on. There's no telling what they had going on. We can speculate, and as more people come forward with ideas, or not ideas, with testimony about what's going on, we don't know. But it was some ungodly, sick stuff for sure. Like keeping children as slaves, sex trafficking, having these rich people, these dirty old men come around smoking their cigars, wanting to kids, man. Ugh. Anyway, so yeah, now that these names are out, we yeah, right. I know, right? What Kingdom Kid? What they still got going on? I know. There's still some stuff going on, but yeah, like, do we even want to know? Do we even want to know? Um, it's like after operating so long, they get to a point to where they feel like they're above the law, they're untouchable, and like nothing, no harm can come to them for the things that they do. But let's just hope that's not really the case. Let's hope that things are really starting to make a turn, because it's kind of wild out here as far as what we're being told about just the surface level stuff, and this is just the surface level stuff. If you actually start thinking about how deep this stuff can go, you know, why are all these politicians corrupt? Oh, because they're likely being blackmailed. What Epstein would do, um, what Epstein would do with these people, and I believe he might actually be dead. He might actually be dead, because what he was doing is like he'll have these people come over, right? He'll have these people come over, and he'll have one of these politicians got doing some things with some underage children, underage girl or boys with these sick people, and in and they'll like come to his island, and in his island, I would imagine that he had cameras all over the place. He got hidden cameras, and he could extort these people for money if they ever decided that they didn't really want to do business with him anymore. You know, yeah. Let me see. Yeah, Roman hoax. I don't buy into any of the theories that he's still alive. People like that become a liability real quick. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with it. I'm like, because if this dude's got dirt on so many people. This dude's got dirt on so many people. He's got video. He's got the flight logs. You know, he's got pictures more than likely. He knew all of it. He knew all of it. He knew way too much. Exactly. He knew way too much. So they had to get rid of him. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking at this point, because all these names came out. Yeah, he became a liability. So you know what? He might be dead. I'm shifting to he might very well be dead. He might very well be dead. I'm leaning more towards he's dead because he knew all these people. He knew who they were. He knew what they did. He knew who they did it with. So yeah, I think yeah, you're right. You know what, Roman? You're right. I think you're right. I think he knew too much and they had to get rid of him. Man, it's wild. Trump. Yeah, yeah. Flattercore music. Trump saying Trump was there too. I think so. I think so. I hadn't heard anything about Trump being at the island though. I hadn't heard anything. I've seen the pictures. I've seen the pictures. I heard about Epstein being at Mar-a-Lago. Um, I don't know. Here's my thing though. Here's my thing. If Trump was actually involved with Epstein, I think we would have heard about it from the Democrats a long time ago. I think that would have been all over the news a long time ago. I'm not advocating for Trump. I'm just trying to use some logic here. If there was something that was really going on with Trump as far as tying him to Epstein that would place him behind bars, how long has the media so called been going after Trump trying to get him um, indicted for colluding with Russia, which I mean nobody's really buying that anyway. Logically, if they actually had something to put Trump away, Trump would have been gone a long time ago, right? At least that makes sense to me. No telling. Um, Let me see. It could all come out later. Yeah. Hey, look. I'm like I said. I'm gonna say this. I don't say this much. I don't know. I don't know. But I do believe that the Democrats would have exposed him a long time ago. Like, y'all, I do believe that. Yeah, flat Earth response. Democrats would have exposed him a long time ago. Yeah, I believe that. If there was something on Trump, if they actually had something on Trump, I believe it would have been out a long time ago. It would have been out like 2016, you know. But the thing is like if there is something that was going on with Trump, um, it could be like so sticky that Democrats and Republicans are involved with Epstein. A lot of congressmen are probably dealing in the sex trade, the sex trafficking, and all that. Like a lot of them, the vast majority of them are probably dealing with the rituals, the satanic ritual abuse, and all that, the child trafficking, the orgies, and all that. It's like they all run together. So if I think Epstein was the linchpin, though, man. I think Epstein was the one that tied most all this stuff together. So it's like they kind of have to protect themselves. Ah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't just the Democrats. I'm sure it was some Republicans that were involved in that stuff too. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what's up. I'm anxious to see what goes on. I want to start seeing some of these politicians in orange jumpsuits. We need to, if government has to continue, and I believe that we can govern ourselves on a state and local level, and we don't need a bunch of people in suits telling us what we can and can't do. Because I can't remember any point where government actually made anything better. Because if I mean, how long have we been doing this whole government system? Um, yeah, left wing, right wing, same bird, exactly. It's like they kind of play against themselves, and it's like got a puppet over here, got a puppet over here, and it's the same people operating both on both sides. So it's hard to tell. It's just hard to tell what's going on with these folks. But anyway, man, I saw that these messages about Epstein coming up dead all of a sudden. I believe it is very unlikely that this guy actually committed suicide while he was on suicide watch. Like somebody would have had to be grossly derelict in their duties to let this guy commit suicide while under supervision of the guards that were supposed to be watching him. I'm not buying that. Either they killed him for real or he got away and he's on an island and this is all a big show. But we'll stay tuned and continue to see what happened out here. We'll see. We'll see what happened, folks. Um, One day this whole satanic cabal of perils are gonna burn in God's judgment. I hope so. I really hope so. And then there's the scripture. That which is done in the dark will all be, brought to light. Maybe that's what's going on. Who knows? But anyway, I'm about to hop off of this thing and get some breakfast. But I had to get this thing set up to chat with you all for a little while about this particular situation. But at any rate, I appreciate you all for coming to hang out. And man, yeah, the guards might have got paid off. You might be right, John. But there's a lot of different ways, man. From suicide watch to suicide watching. Okay, but all right, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off of this thing. Hope everybody has a great day. I'll try to be getting on here, going live with you a little more often. The system has changed as far as going live with my computer, and I'm out of practice, so it is something that I'll be working on. But at any rate, you all take care. This is D Marvel reporting from Washington, out in the woods at the new fifth wheel, having a good old time. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you soon. As always, be good to each other, take care of yourself, and stay flat. See you next time.